Welcome to the fastest 30 minutes in football. Today on Play to Win, college football playoff implications. The first place Falcons. Plus, we'll have injury updates, fantasy football, and Jeffrey the Ed Schechter picks against the spread.
Play to Win is being brought to you by John Foy and Associates and Kia Mall of Georgia and Mall of Georgia Chrysler Dodge Jeep.
Welcome to Play to Win with former Falcons All-Pro defensive end Chuck Smith, Fantasy Football League previews with Adam Brown, game analysis with Nikki Williams, Play to Win expert Jeffrey the Ed Schechter, medical and injury update with Dr. Andrew Lalage, and your host, Atlanta sports veteran Bob Neal.
Our college football report is being brought to you by Mall of Georgia Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Kia Mall of Georgia.
All right, welcome to the show. We're going to talk college football. I want to remind you, Dr. Andrew Lalage will be along a little bit later with the player medical report. Adam Brown, of course, with fantasy football. But right now, Jeffrey Schechter, Nikki Williams, Chuck Smith, and yours truly going to talk some college football. And guys, did you realize that it's, and I know you did, only 3 more weeks until the College Football Playoff Committee will name the first Final Four in college football. Here are this week's rankings by that 12-person committee. Alabama, Oregon, Florida State, Mississippi State, the Final Four, if they started today. TCU, Ohio State, Baylor. Ohio State moved up with their great play, and Georgia has moved into the top 10. UCLA trying to battle in the Pac-12 with the right to play Oregon in the north. And Chuck, I want to start with asking you what you think about this College Football Playoff Committee as we've gone along here and how they're picking these games. Do you see any trends and what's happening in the way they're picking who?
Well, you talked about 3 weeks. The final committee is going to make that decision. Well, it's almost Christmas time, and that's headed in the same direction. I'm going to say, bah, humbug. I feel like the committee's trying to force feed the Big Ten teams out there. I feel like it's almost an SEC discrimination because they've been given so much credit over the years. I kind of feel the SEC is being penalized for maybe their success.
Yeah, you see Mississippi State down there at 4th. Of course, they lost last week, but Georgia did move up to number 10. It'll be interesting to see what happens. What's your take on it, Nikki?
I think the committee should stay awake at the wheel. Look at the way this is all played out with this new scenario. We're 13 weeks in. There's a lot up in the air still, and I wouldn't count out TCU, Ohio State, Baylor, or even Ole Miss.
Yeah. Actually, they could be in, and with a variant scenarios, Georgia could even be in there if they were to beat Tech and win the SEC championship, and somebody else loses up above them. Jeffrey, who do you think are the best bets to be in that Final Four that may not be there today?
If the top 5 teams all went out, you cannot ignore an 11-1 team from the Big 12. TCU will jump Mississippi State.
All right, let's take a look at the games that are coming up this weekend. A lot of teams have almost an off week as they're playing weaker opponents, but there are some games that have playoff implications. BC's at FSU. FSU, of course, a big favorite in the game. Vanderbilt and Mississippi State, same story there. Ole Miss, Arkansas is an interesting one. And I ask you, Chuck, as we look at that, does Ole Miss have any kind of chance to get to the Final Four if they're to get past Arkansas?
Well, the end of Ole Miss's season is going to be like a movie, Bob, and it's going to be Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Lots of twists and turns. Now, here's the thing that has to happen. Can Auburn beat Alabama? I say yes. Then all of a sudden, can Ole Miss beat Mississippi State in the Egg Bowl? I say yes. Then when you look at this, you got to beat the SEC East champ, could be Georgia, Missouri. That can happen. And then Ole Miss would have an opportunity there. Now, can that happen? Yes, but you know, it's a long shot, but Ole Miss has a shot. If they win out, they're going to have a chance to be the 3 or 4 seed.
All right, throw a little bone to the Ole Miss Rebels. They're still in that top 10. Now we're going to talk about our college football showdown of the week. And that showdown of the week, of course, is brought to you by the Georgia Lottery, and it is Missouri at Tennessee. I know Georgia football fans are going to be Tennessee Volunteer fans this week if they can beat the Missouri Tigers, who go into Knoxville to play Tennessee. And Nikki, I want to get started. What does Missouri have to do in order to beat Tennessee?
And Missouri's finally cooking with grease right now, and this is a game where Russell Hansbrough, he's really got to cut loose. He's got to make some big plays, take advantage of the situation right now. Tennessee is without their starting safety, so there's not a lot of way for them to stop the big plays. He's got to make them, and their quarterback, Mr. Matty Nice, he's got to minimize his mistakes because while he's winning, you can't argue the guy wins. He's 10-3 as a starter. but his stats are nastier than a mayonnaise donut.
And here's what I want to ask you about mayonnaise donut. Sounds
Think about
awful.
that.
That's
Think
nasty.
about that.
Lost my appetite, which is not a bad thing. A.J. Johnson, number 45, Tennessee linebacker, suspended, off-campus sexual abuse allegations. What does it mean to Tennessee?
Well, it's huge. I mean, it's gigantic. You lose your best player on your entire team, a possible NFL first-round draft pick. He made the calls. He was the leader. He was everything to this Vol team. So it's really going to be important that this team plays great defense, and it's going to be up to Joshua Dobbs at quarterback for Tennessee to keep putting up magnificent numbers. He's been the story of the Vols' resurgence in the second half of the season.
All right, Jeffrey, it's time for the picks. Let's take a look at them. Jeffrey the Edge Schechter telling you who's going to win, who's going to lose. Start first of all with Missouri.
Missouri is resilient. Made all the big plays against Texas A&M last week. Finished off with a goal line stand. Tennessee's tough. They're getting better. I like Missouri with the points.
You see Arkansas over in Ole Miss, eh?
Arkansas beat up LSU, who beat up Mississippi. Now Arkansas is going to beat up Mississippi. That's a 2 thumbs up home dog. Take Arkansas.
And the big one, USC, UCLA, you like the Bruins.
Too fast. Too much speed for USC. Go with the Bruins.
All right, there you go. That's the college football report. We'll come back in a moment and talk about the hometown team report. Kind of an unusual hometown team report when we return on Play to Win.
We're winding down our 20th anniversary celebration with The Big Finish at Mall of Georgia Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Find a great deal right now on a 2014 Jeep Cherokee, priced at only $17,999. Get a 2014 Ram Crew Cab and save $10,000 off MSRP. Sale priced at $24,920. Drive away on a 2015 Chrysler 200 today and pay just $17,999. The Big Finish at Mall of Georgia Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, or online at yourdodge.com.
There's nothing like waking up on that first cold day of winter weather and turning on your heating system only to find out it doesn't work. I'm Tommy Estes. Call Estes Services ahead of time and avoid the discomfort. With our pre-season maintenance and safety inspection, your system can be running at peak efficiency. Call us today or visit estesair.com and find out everything this inspection offers. Save energy and money with dual fuel. Call your man for all seasons at Estes.
We'll fix it at the speed of light.
It's a great time to drop into Nissan for holiday bonus cash on the 38 MPG Highway Altima and select models from our most innovative lineup ever. The most exciting event of the season is going on now at Nissan.
Get up to $1,500 holiday bonus cash on top of existing offers on select models.
Bonus cash ends soon.
Shop ChooseNissan.com. Innovation that excites.
Right after I got hurt in my car wreck, the other guy's insurance company offered to fix my car, but they only offered me $750 for my injuries, and then they wanted me to sign this.
Don't sign anything until you've talked to me. I'm Attorney John Foy, the Strong Arm. You may be giving up tens of thousands of dollars by signing the insurance company's release form. Call me.
That same day, the insurance company said they will fix my car and offered me this check for $600.
Don't take that check. Let me get you the money you deserve. Call on the Strong Arm.
Hometown Team Report is being brought to you by Mellow Mushroom Pizza Bakers, bringing a higher order of pizza to Atlanta for 40 years.
All right, welcome to Hometown Team Report. Now, it's a little interesting today because Georgia Tech is off this week, getting ready to play Georgia. Georgia's off. Actually, they're having a scrimmage against Charleston Southern, getting ready to play Georgia Tech next week. That gives us more time to talk about your first place Atlanta Falcons. And we're going to get started with our 68 seconds with 680 The Fan. And I'm so glad we have John Kincaid today because, as you know, he is never, ever opinionated to talk about the first place Falcons.
Imagine my surprise earlier this week when Falcons quarterback Matt Ryan declared the 4-6 first place Falcons as relevant again. Relevant, Matt? Are you kidding me? Being in first place in the NFC South is like being the least promiscuous Kardashian, or maybe the smartest woman on The View. In other words, you don't brag about it. Let's put it this way. The Falcons are relevant again, but just in a 100-mile radius around the Georgia Dome. That's about it. In NFL circles, when you're 4-6, you're not relevant. You're pitied. Let's see. Being 4-6 is like winning the lotto, or maybe marrying a Trump. You don't really know how you got there, but you're celebrating the fact that you're living the high life. You are so lucky to be 4-6, but what the Falcons got to realize is this. Mike Smith, Matt Ryan, Thomas Dimitroff, they raised the bar around here long ago. This team has been the top seed in the NFC playoffs twice in the past 4 years. That's what has to change. 4-6 is no reason to celebrate, but you've got 6 more games to get it right. Come on, Falcons. Show us what relevancy really is. Back to you, Bob.
All right, John Kincaid.
stuff.
I love that guy.
Good stuff.
All right, I don't love him. I like him as a star, but he sometimes irritates me.
We understand, Bob.
That's why he is a
Bob.
star.
We understand, Bob.
Thank you
Bob.
for
We understand.
coming
Okay,
back.
you're my people,
Thank you
John.
for coming back there. You're our people. And how about this one? I love this line. The least promiscuous Kardashian. That's what being 4-6 is.
That's hilarious. But you know what? It leads me to this, Bob. That's kind of the feeling
Still
I've
pretty
had.
skanky.
We haven't talked enough about championships. This is a team that 2 years ago was considered the bright spot in the National Football League, and now we're talking about really it's a young rebuilding team, and they're just satisfied. So I understand what he's saying when he makes those kind of comments.
You're talking about Matt Ryan. And
No question. This is time to,
exactly.
you're looking at Super Bowls, not just sneaking in.
All right, now let's take a look at the NFC South, the worst division in the National Football League. Now, you're not going to have time to go over all these games, but you see Atlanta, New Orleans, Carolina, and Tampa Bay. Atlanta, New Orleans, Carolina is still relevant on this. Chuck, if you were to start, who has the best shot coming out of that group of winning the NFC South?
Well, to me, if you look at it from that standpoint, I'd say it's the New Orleans Saints. When I'm looking at their schedule, the Falcons have a very tough schedule coming up, but the bottom line is they all get to play each other in the NFC South. So it's going to be divided by the interleague rivalries of the NFC South. That's how it's going to divide.
Nikki, what do you think?
What, are you asking me if I think the Falcons can win?
Yes,
because
that's
I'm
what I'm
gonna
asking.
say
Let me ask you, can the Falcons win?
nope. And I'm only saying that because I've been saying that this entire season. I say they can't win, and look, they're winning right
How
now.
can you say that?
But this is me being a fan by saying that they're not going to win. They could win because
Look who they're playing against.
I know, and that's what. Okay, and their defense is just a disaster right now.
Yeah,
but
that's true.
the main thing is the Falcons are going to stick with this screenplay situation. They're going to dial it up, and Matt Ryan says he's going to execute better because they're hit or miss. He's been making some mistakes, but it's a long shot. But they're going to go with it. They could maybe win. I'm not going to say that they could win because I don't want to jinx them.
Oh, that's it. I see where you're coming from. You're getting a negative mojo. That's what you're doing.
Yeah.
Jeffrey the Edge Schechter is going to pick the game. The Cleveland Browns come in to play at the Georgia Dome.
The Falcons defeated Carolina in the Zombie Bowl last week and got the Walking Dead trophy. I'm not going to insult them or whatever. Take the 3 with Cleveland.
Take the 3 with Cleveland. The Walking Dead
love
Zombie Bowl.
Uncle
Holy
Jeffrey.
cow! We'll be
He's a
back
classic.
with more on Play to Win.
Why can't I have a slice of yours?
You're a cartoon. You can only have cartoon pizza.
It's not fair.
Look, this pie is 100% real, and you're colored ink. It's physics, man.
Well, can you buy me a beer?
I can buy you a cartoon beer. Are you single?
It's right.
Everyone wants real mellow mushroom pizza because our pies use premium meats and cheeses, fresh veggies, and spring water dough baked with wheat goodness. Mellow mushroom, a higher order of pizza.
In the fraction of time we spend driving in reverse, about 500,000 accidents occur each year, which is why the Infiniti QX60 has world's first safety technology available, like backup collision intervention, which can brake even before you do, to help keep everyone safe. Lease the Infiniti QX60 for $419 a month. Visit your Atlanta area Infiniti retailer.
Every day, your business may be losing something valuable. Energy. While you're hard at work, it's vanishing, taking your money with it. But Georgia Power can help. Whether your business is big or small, we have rebates on high-efficiency lighting and other equipment that can cut your energy use, so you can keep more of your money where it belongs. Learn more at georgiapower.com/commercial savings.
Today's Player Medical Report is being brought to you by Piedmont Healthcare, now a certified member of the MD Anderson Cancer Network.
And now Dr. Andrew Lalage, who is the Chief Medical Officer of the Radiology Group and also the creator of InsideInjuries.com, has our Player Medical Report.
There have been some significant injuries in the NFL in the last week, particularly on the offensive side of the ball. Let's start with Julius Thomas. He is at a B+, and he's staying at 75%. He has a grade 2 lateral ankle sprain, and he should not be downgraded. Now, Monte Ball has been downgraded to a B-, and what that means is he's re-aggravated his groin injury that he's been suffering for the whole entire NFL season this year. And that's why he's been downgraded to a B-. He's at 65%, and I'd be very cautious on starting him this week if he's activated. Dwayne Allen, he is at a B grade, downgraded from a B+, but he's still at 70%. He has a high ankle sprain, which does not appear to be too severe. If he is activated, I would be okay starting him on Sunday. Phillip Rivers was an A grade all season long. Now he's suffered a pretty significant rib injury, but as a quarterback, he's pretty well protected. He's been downgraded to just an A-. I would be totally confident in starting him from a medical standpoint this Sunday.
All right, thank you, Dr. Lalage, and we'll be back in just a moment with the NFL injury report, the latest on that. And of course, Adam Brown will be here with fantasy football on Play to Win.
Our 10th anniversary celebration continues with a construction reduction sale now at Kia Mall of Georgia. For a limited time, get 0% interest or choose the best prices in the Southeast on these great models. Get a 2015 Kia Optima for just $17,997 or a new 2015 Kia Sorento LX starting at only $19,997. All inventory drastically reduced, and lenders are standing by with a 100% loan approval goal. Kia Mall of Georgia, 2.5 miles west of the Mall of Georgia, or online at lovemykia.com.
Today's injury report is brought to you by John Foy and Associates. If you've been injured in an accident, be sure to call John Foy, the strong arm. Well, New Orleans is certainly going to need Brandon Cooks, but they're not going to have him as we take a look at the NFL injury list. Right at the top, Cooks is out with a thumb injury. Also notice that Ahmad Bradshaw's out with an ankle, and Adam Brown comes along later and tells you why that's good news if you do the right thing in fantasy football. Also, Anton Smith, the Falcons running back who is becoming a star, broke his leg. He is out. And that is the NFL injury report brought to you by John Foy and Associates. Speaking of Adam Brown, it is now time for fantasy football. Fantasy Report brought to you by SD Services. Adam, good to see you.
Good to see you, Bob.
And we only have two teams on bye this week, Pittsburgh and Carolina.
Correct.
Roethlisberger there that somebody might be concerned about, but not really anybody else.
Not really anybody else other than Le'Veon Bell, Antonio Brown, and you also got Cam Newton and Kelvin Benjamin.
All right, let's get started with Who's Hot, and we start always, as usual, with the quarterbacks. Who's Hot? By Adam Brown and Fantasy Football, and you like that man from Indianapolis.
Andrew Luck is the hottest quarterback in the NFL, though he didn't have a great week last week, only throwing for 303 yards. He has 8 straight 300-yard passing games. Week 3 versus the Jags, Luck threw for 370 yards and 4 touchdowns. Look for another big day versus them.
Running backs.
DeMarco Murray. The Giants are horrible versus the run, giving up 25.2 points per game to opposing running backs, and he's had 100 yards rushing in every game except for one.
All right, how about the wide receivers?
All right, look, guys. Josh Gordon's coming to town. Brian Hoyer's going to throw him the ball. Last time they hooked up last year, 19 targets. Look for him to have 7 catches against the Falcons defense, giving up 29 points per game to opposing wide receivers.
All right, and Alshon Jeffrey, you like looks at him too.
Alshon Jeffrey had 11 catches for 135 and a touchdown last week. I don't see how you can't start him this week.
All right, let's talk about who's cold.
Right, well, cold, Washington Redskins quarterback Robert Griffin III is ice cold. He's averaging just 13.4 points a game over the last 2 games. There's trouble in D.C., guys. And the stat of the week, the 49ers allow the 5th fewest fantasy points in passing yards. So Robert Griffin III is going to have a really cold week.
All right, here was a surprising name on your sleepers, and that is Trent Richardson.
Trent Richardson's had an awful season, but is now going to carry the load for the Indianapolis Colts running game. The Jags defense ranks 26th in the NFL.
Yep.
Look for him to have a big big week.
All right, we're almost to the playoffs.
We are. Guys, scour the waiver wires. Scour them. I guarantee you'll find some sleepers in the playoffs.
All right, Adam Brown, Fantasy Football.
Good luck, guys.
We'll be back in just a moment with the NFL. A lot more picks to come from Jeffrey the Ed Schechter on Play to Win.
Your life moves fast, so when your plumbing goes bad, we know you want it fixed fast. I'm Brian Estes, inviting you to see what we can provide with our plumbing services. We're dedicated to the same high standards of quality we've held ourselves to since 1949. From leak repairs to water pressure, from water heaters to toilet issues. Estes is dependable, proven, and ready to help. Call Estes and we'll fix it at the speed of life.
We're Estes Services. We'll fix it at the speed of life.
Right after I got hurt in my car wreck, the other guy's insurance company offered to fix my car. They only offered me $750 for my injury. And they wanted me to sign this.
Don't sign anything until you've talked to me. I'm Attorney John Foy, the Strong Arm. You may be giving up tens of thousands of dollars by signing the insurance company's release form. Call me.
And they offered me this check for $1,000.
Don't take that check. Let me get you the money you deserve. Call in the Strong Arm.
Call Attorney John Foy, the Strong Arm.
The NFL Report is brought to you by the Greater Atlanta Nissan dealers. Innovation that excites.
A lot of interesting games in the National Football League this week, particularly Detroit at New England. New England found a running game last week, and now they've signed off waivers. LeGarrette Blount, 247-pound running back, will even add to that. And, of course, Baltimore plays at New Orleans. That's on Monday night, of interest to Falcon fans because of the NFC South. But let's start with that the New England and Detroit. New England hosting Detroit. What do you think about that game?
Strength versus strength. This is everyone's favorite game right now. The Lions have got some question marks on their injury list right now, and the Patriots, you cannot deny the fact that they are on fire right now. 6-game winning streak. The Patriots are 42-3 at home since 2009. That's under the Belichick and Brady reign. I'm going to take the Patriots on this one, even though the Lions have the better defense right now. And I never do that, but I'm doing it this time.
All right. Yeah, the Lions do have a good defense. How do you see it?
Well, I see it with explosiveness, and that's what Detroit hasn't had since Reggie Bush has been down in the running game. To me, there's too much pressure on Matthew Stafford to throw the ball to Calvin Johnson. This, to me, is built about running the ball to win against New England. And on the other end of the spectrum, Rob Gronkowski, to me right now, is the comeback player of the year. He's more like a wrestler out there than he is a football player. He's a monster.
Our team we can't figure out all year, at least I can't, is New Orleans. Baltimore is at New Orleans Monday night. How do you see it?
Well, I see this. I think that, number one, I believe that the Baltimore Ravens are going to win. There's no one that I've seen that has been as good a coach as John Harbaugh in managing the expectations of his team and developing talent. I believe in the Ravens, and to me, it looks like the Saints, they're headed on the downslide.
All right, Jeffrey, it's time for the NFL picks. How do you see the games? Let's take a look at Jeffrey the Ed Schechter and his picks in the National Football League this week. Start with Detroit at New England.
Since that Monday night debacle, New England has been playing great. Detroit's defense has been excellent, and Matthew Stafford pulls out the game in the fourth quarter. Last week, the defense played great, but Matthew Stafford didn't pull it out in the fourth quarter. This week, Matthew Stafford will be playing for fantasy points in the fourth quarter.
All right, I see you like Arizona, 9-1 already on the year.
Seattle's a different team this year. Kansas City went up and down the field on them last week. Their offense looks a little in disarray. Arizona's the best, most well-rounded team in football. Take the points with Arizona.
Yeah, and you like the points with Miami going to Denver, too.
To me, Denver is a very soft team. St. Louis just smacked them around like a 90-pound weakling last week. Miami is fast. They're physical, and if the referees don't give Denver sympathy calls, Miami should beat them. Take the points with Miami.
Peyton Manning, going to get sympathy calls. Going to get sympathy calls. We're going to come back. If you haven't had enough of Jeffrey, you get more, because we have the lightning round next on Play to Win.
It's a great time to drop into Nissan for holiday bonus cash on the 38 MPG Highway Altima and select models from our most innovative lineup ever. The most exciting event of the season is going on now at Nissan.
Get up to $1,500 holiday bonus cash on top of existing offers on select models.
Bonus cash ends soon.
Shop ChooseNissan.com. Innovation that excites.
Every day, your business may be losing something valuable. Energy. While you're hard at work, it's vanishing, taking your money with it. But Georgia Power can help. Whether your business is big or small, we have rebates on high-efficiency lighting and other equipment that can cut your energy use, so you can keep more of your money where it belongs. Learn more at georgiapower.com/commercial savings.
The Wizard, can you make me real so I can eat real mellow mushroom pizza instead of cartoon pizza?
Stand back. Here we go. Alakazam! Wiggity stickity poof!
I'm still a cartoon.
Then that'd be a no.
Everyone wants real mellow mushroom pizza because our pies use premium meats and cheeses, fresh veggies, and spring water dough baked with wheat goodness.
Wiggity stickity poof.
Mellow mushroom, a higher order of pizza.
Today's lightning round is brought to you by Georgia Power Company. Get energy efficient and get rebates from Georgia Power. Go to georgiapower.com.
All right, it's time for the lightning round, so let's get rolling. Jeffrey's going to start with colleges, Miami at Virginia.
Miami should be due for a letdown after going to sleep in the second half last week. Again, November is Save the Coach's Job month. Take Virginia with the 6 points.
And Cal Stanford.
Stanford has a hard time scoring. Cal doesn't. Take Cal with the points.
In the pros, Jets, Buffalo. And by the way, they're moving that game, I hear.
It's not going to be in Buffalo, but it doesn't matter because Buffalo's offense went south already. Take the Jets and the points.
Cincinnati, Houston.
Cincinnati, when they play, is as good as anybody. If they play this week, they'll win the game against Houston.
All right, St. Louis, San Diego.
San Diego, who was my darling early in the year, they have no running game. St. Louis is a rough, tough, physical team, and I think they're going to give Phil Rivers a hard time. Take the points with St. Louis.
And finally, DeMarco Murray and Dallas at the Giants.
They keep giving those low spreads against the Giants. You got to go against the Giants. I used to be a Giant fan. They're terrible. Go with Dallas and give the 3.
All right, that's it for the lightning round. Real quickly, right down the line, who's going to win, Missouri or Tennessee?
Missouri.
Missouri.
Tennessee.
Exactly.
Go Vols.
Go Vols. And Georgia fans are all Vols fans this week.
I'd like to see
because
Tennessee win.
of the SEC East. You'll be back next week. We'll be back next week on Play to Win.
Today's show has been brought to you by Mellow Mushroom Pizza Bakers and the Greater Atlanta Nissan Dealers.